Hello, this is Johnny Cycles with CyclesGaming.com, bringing you another edition of Keeping Modern Janky. Probably going to mulligan this one-lander. This week's edition we're playing Hardened Scales, but not Hardened Scale. I almost said Hardened Scales Affinity. We're playing Hardened Scales Hydra Tribal. Alright, what should we put to the bottom? We can't cast either one of these things. Kiora is our biggest upside. Oh man, okay, we'll put the Domri down. We have two ways of killing things. So the fight of Domri might not be as important as the card draw of Kiora to get us back in this. And it's an elf. And we do another Kiora. Alright. We really would have liked to have seen a land there. Looks like we might be up against an aggressive creature strategy. So we will bolt the Mystic. And we'll have Stomp for their next threat. One of their next threats. Hopefully draw some lands in action after that. Land War Elves. They kept the one-lander. We drew a Utopia. At least we got a two. We can cast it this turn. So green, Utopia Sprawl. We'll name red this time since we need it for the stomp. Our opponent must kept a very explosive hand with a bunch of mana dorks, and so we're going to continue to kill their mana dorks. So next turn we draw a land, Hardened Scales, and Bone Crusher Giant. Or Hardened Scales. Oh no. We drew the Utopia Sprawl. Alright, so we're going to do Kiora. If we draw a land, Kiora into Bone Crusher. There's another. All of the mana dork elves. Do we draw another kill spell to ruin our opponent's fun? We do not, but we do draw a land, so what we can do is play a Kiora. This might be familiar to our opponent who's playing elves. They might be playing Kiora. Untap. And play the Bone Crusher Giant. Alright, well, they have 4 cards in hand and elves. I assume they have quite a few elves in hand that synergize really well and go wide very fast. Protection from blue, not at its best against a elf deck. However, a hasty threat's nice. So will our opponent be able to commit a lot to the board and put enough pressure on us that it's too late? Our burn spell slowed them down. Looks like they... I mean, I've forgotten about elves in Modern. Yep, they're going to get some manas. Yeah, if that Mistcutter Hydra had been a Shivan Devastator, I'd be happier about where we're at. Elves can go wide and big so fast. We slowed them down a little bit, but I mean they're doing more with they're emptying their hand. Elvish Archdruid, yeah, they just have it all. This is what elves can do, even with slowing them down. They're going to have a really big board. So they're going to be able to go hit us. Oh, Goldvein Hydra. That was a really good draw for us. So 2, 5, 6, 7, 10, 12. I mean, we could just play the Hardened Scales because it's basically a free +1/+1 counter for us. I mean, it counts as a mana dork in this context. Goldvein Hydra. They're not going to want to block, I don't think. So that's a 4/4 Goldvein Hydra versus a 4/4 Mistcutter Hydra. Next turn, we could... Well, it's going to be a 5, right? Alright, so we're going to run this out. It has Vigilance, because, you know, why not? I love it. It's such a great card. Vigilance, Trample, Haste. Gonna get it to draw another card. Opponent's reading. They're empty-handed. What do we draw? Shivan Devastator? Another land, which is good. I mean, I think we just have to live fearlessly right now. We have a blocker to help stop some of the damage. If they decide they want to take it all and then swing out, if they don't draw another lord, we might get there with the Mistcutter Hydra. They took it. Alright. I might be missing something here. We'll see. They have a lot of mana. What did they draw? Let's just hope another land more Elves. They were so good at having them in the first game. Alright, well, I think if they attack with everybody, we might get there. They have no cards and a big board. Do they attack with everybody? I mean, that's what you do when you're Elves. You swing out. Alright, they're gonna just wait. Shivan Devastator, that's where we're at. That's what we want right now. A lightning bolt could be okay too to kill their lord. Another land. Not... Alright, so... Can Hydras beat Elves? Sounds like a good scene from Lord of the Rings. What do we draw? Man, if we draw a Shivan Devastator, there's no doubt we're swinging out. If we don't, there is some question of what we should do. Ha! It's a Shivan Devastator! Okay. Let's put the pressure on. Because we'll get these treasure tokens if they do block and then make a massive Shivan Devastator. Man, I love it when the deck performs the way you want it to and answers your call when you get what you want. Yeah, I mean, you might as well just jump block. Alright, we gotta fade one more turn out of our opponent. And even then, I'm not sure any one draw is going to get them there unless it's... I mean, even their best draw to give Trample, I don't think they're going to get the mana to do it. However, we'll see. Play another one of these Rangers. Okay. Alright, Shivan Devastator, this is your time. This is the time for you to show off what you can do. Are they going to just attack Kiora? They're going to try to probably stay alive by having blockers, I imagine. Alright, the Devastator coming in to devastate. Our opponent's like, you have more action? I mean, we're going, they have 0 cards in hand, we're going big. And we're going to see the literal Hydra Tribal on the battlefield all at once. Raining down multiple heads upon our opponent and defeating them. Elf Tribal were not fast enough after we had to start to kill their opening mana dorks. Can we run that back? Oh, that was good. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful board state. And we drew the Pelucranos eventually. Our three signature Hydras. A little bit of 2 interaction spells. Top deck that Utopia Sprawl. Yeah, good thing we could not have ran that any better for us. I'm not expecting it to go quite as smoothly in game 2. They were on the play too, though. So we'll see. Alpine Moon to take off Nykthos. Is it worth it? That is what gives them the most explosive starts. Brotherhood's End. I mean, it can clean a board. If we see them do like, if we have a turn 2 Brotherhood's End after they make a couple of mana dorks. Alright, we're going to get rid of an Ozolith. We probably will just trim, honestly, like we have been doing. I mean, Mistcutter's great. It does get blocked for days. It's a good threat, though, to keep them on their back foot. Maybe another Ozolith. I just haven't had a chance to see the Ozolith in action outside of Commander. And I know it's a bust in against me, but I know it's a busted card. Oh, I think this is the recipe for death. We don't really have the ramp. We have multiple ways of growing our Hydras, but I don't think we can keep up with the fast elf start with this hand. That's even worse. Alright, opponent. Alright, viewers. This, I think, is a hand that we die with, honestly, but we do have things to do in mana. Do we risk going to 5? I think we have to. Otherwise, it's almost just giving them the game already. Wow, we're really good at getting Hardened Scales and the Ozolith. 2 cards on the bottom, Cavern. Man, I really want to try out this Ozolith, but okay. Sad face. The Magic Gods who gave us the Shivan Devastator last game decided we really needed to try out the Ozolith. And yet we still put it on the bottom. Shivan Devastator versus a Domri. I don't know. That's what we're looking. The 6 cards we kept. Our 6-card hand would have been a Domri and the Ozolith. Oh, we got max rewarded. So, hopefully they don't play Pick Your Poison. Everyone's playing Pick Your Poison these days, and it's a really good card in a spot like this. Alright, let's see if our opponent wants to empty their hand quickly and then let us Brotherhood's End them. Man, Brotherhood's End is so good in the right spots. You know you want to cast something else? A Mana Dork. I'm just drinking my coffee again. Here's the thing about Elves, though. We're going to have a great turn 2. But they're going to have 4 cards in hand. They can rebuild. How greedy do we want to be? Do we want to take a single hit? Or are they going to make enough lords that they'll grow them out of range? Oh, I'm so tempted just to be greedy. The worst thing is we made this and we had to tap for red. All right, I'm gonna go the greedy route. Going to go the greedy route. And I'm going to let them commit more to the board and just hope not to get. The risk here, right? I've played Elves before. It's been a long time. We could wipe the board. They are going to have 4 cards in hand. They could just totally rebuild, and then we'd be in the same situation, just with 20 life. Okay. What we're really hoping for is we survive this turn, and they commit more kind of dorks to the board to go wide without too much pumping. That puts their Elves out of Brotherhood's End, because they could have just rebuilt so easily that we'd be in the same spot next turn with a big board, some more land drops. But with taking this line, we could get punished, but it looks like we are not going to get punished. Either way, we couldn't. Let me finish my thought. We could get punished by them going too big, too wide, and killing us, but I think we can survive one hit, and then they'll have committed their entire hand to the board, and we'll sweep the entire board away with this Brotherhood's End, and then they'll be rebuilding from one card at a time versus just vomiting their hand out again onto the board, onto the battlefield. So I think that's why taking this line is higher reward. It's higher risk, but higher reward. And we only went to 15. And we're going to get to Brotherhood's End. Three damage to each creature. Hopefully their last card is not a collected company or a way to keep their guys alive. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry, opponent. I don't know. They're probably cussing me out in another language. I'm sorry. I can't. I played it though. I took it the risky route, but the highest reward, and you see why. Like, if we'd done it the turn before, they would have had this card, this card, this card, and this card. They would have had, maybe not all at once, but they would have been able to rebuild back to a pretty sizable board. But instead we took a turn and risked it, right? That they weren't going to be able to play a bunch of lords to grow their team out of the range. The thing about that line is that since the lords don't tend to grow themselves on the other elves, if you do 3 damage and they're only at 3/3s, like most of the lords are 2/2s. So even if they were to play 2 lords, they would have made each other 3/3s, and we would have taken a bigger hit, but then the lords would have died, and then the 3 damage would have been still on the elves. So after the lords died, the other elves would have died. So I don't think there was too many ways we could have gotten totally punished with that line. And yeah, being able to let them empty their hand before wiping the board is obviously the difference in the game and the match. If we had done it the turn we could have, they would have just put 4 or 5 more elves on the board and had their synergies online for whatever was in their hand or whatever they were going to draw. And instead, whatever language they were speaking, I'm sure it wasn't good game, opponent. You played that well, or really interesting deck. I really enjoyed the game. So if you know whatever language that was in the comments, you can let me know, translate for me. All right, well that's 3-0 with Hydra. Granted, no, the Elves haven't seen them in a while. We've played Blue White Affinity, Hammer Time, and now Elves. None of those is it. Murktide, none of those are scam decks. But hey, you got to be able to beat the tier 2 and tier 3 decks if you want to be competitive. And no matter what, it's been super fun. Man, Brotherhood's End, such a great card against some of these decks. But for CyclesGaming.com, this is Johnny Cycles. Thanks for watching, y'all. I'll catch you on the next one. This has been another edition of Keeping Modern Janky with Johnny Cycles. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out my website, CyclesGaming.com, for original Magic the Gathering content. You can read about my Commander decks or my Janky Modern brews. My latest article is about the Zombie Precon and its effect on Commander. I give you a couple different deck lists. If you're interested in a science fiction/fantasy novel, be sure to check out my book, The Podkind. I'm publishing it serially, a couple chapters every month. Again, thanks for watching. Check me out on YouTube, Johnny Cycles. Click that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it, and I'll catch you on the next one.